It's time for Bringing the Heat with Trey Lyle.
Welcome on into Bring the Heat with Trey Lyle, reacting to the playoff finale at Daytona. Excited to have you with us here, getting us ready.
You know, guys, like this weekend, like it was really a party weekend. Like, I mean, Steven, you go to a race with Steven and you don't expect to party as much, but I gotta be honest, ever since we got some of this Billy's tequila, like I'm on board. I mean, they're just what a fantastic product. I'm honestly so excited to have them on. Like, I mean, you want a brand that celebrates the race of life like they say they do. That's it, man. And I'm all about it. I'm all about it. I mean, it's a great design, a great product. I'm happy to have them. I'm gonna
Dalton, what the f are you doing here?
Oh no. I joined the wrong podcast.
Now, this was our, welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen. Neither of us has saw that before, and let me just say, bravo to Mr. Dalton Hopkins. Fantastic. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is another edition of Happy Hour presented, yes, as Mr. Dalton Hopkins says, by Billy's Tequila. It was a great day. It is a great day because Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift got engaged. And what is better to celebrate it than with Billy's Tequila? Yes, folks. It shows up at your door. All you got to do is just go to billystequila.com. Come straight to you. No additives, small batch, all flavors, zero fake stuff. I don't think so. Life is a race, but the celebration, well, that is easy. Billy's Tequila. Celebrate the race of life. My camera is weird, so, I can't really. It's there you go. See? But, we love it. Apparently, Dalton has the bottle, and he drank so much of it that he went on the wrong show. But, that is okay. We got a fake Dalton, a pretend Dalton that's going to be subbing for him. He is the editor-in-chief for Front Stretch, Mr. Tom Bowles. Bowlesy, how are you, my friend? And you got some big shoes to fill, my friend.
I do have some big shoes to fill. Man, I'm going to be rusty. I've been on air in a while, but nice to be pretend Dalton for a night and still be able to hire and fire you. Not sure about what Dalton's status is going to be after that opening skit, but we'll try and figure it out. And, looking forward to a great podcast.
I will say this, bringing in my other co-host, I literally thought our producer hit the wrong button. So that was how well it did. And I'm pretty sure this guy...
Thanks for that.
Hey, I'm complimenting Dalton. I'm not criticizing you. Trenton does a great job. And I'm pretty sure...
Trenton, great job.
And I'm pretty sure that our other co-host felt the same way. Michael Massie, that was very, very well done by the other half of this program.
Yeah, we've already had a roller coaster of emotions, and the show's just started because I went from 0.5 seconds of being furious at Trenton so now I'm super happy with him. He did a great job there. Trenton, Dalton, Trey, great job, all of you. And, if you do want to see later in the week, Trey will be doing the actual Bring the Heat podcast, so you should tune in for that as well.
And one of our favorite guests, I think this is the first time he's on the program when I've been hosting it. He's been on when Trey Lyle hosted this awesome program from TSJ Sports, the one and the only. Oh, Peter, Mr. Peter Stratta himself. How are you, buddy?
Doing great. Been a lot of driving up and down various highways, going to Richmond and Daytona and getting ready for Darlington, the first playoff race this weekend. So can't wait to talk about it for a little bit here.
Now, did you fly to Daytona or did you drive?
Drove.
You drove. Oh, man. Bravo, brother. Bravo. That is a long drive. But we got
only 8 hours.
Okay, that's still a lot. We got a plethora of stuff to talk about, so let's just dive right in. Pretend Dalton, you got the first topic on this evening's program. So what did you want to dive into tonight?
Well, just like the real Dalton, who couldn't find it in his heart to make it tonight, there are a lot of drivers that didn't make the playoffs after what we saw at Daytona. 16 drivers get in. We had 20 full-timers not make it this year. So I was trying to figure out who the most disappointing driver is in that 20. Who's the one driver you would pick out and say, man, this guy needed to be in the playoffs. And for me, starting off, I'm going to go with Ty Gibbs. Ty's the only guy from the top manufacturer teams to not make it in, right? All 4 Hendrick teams from Chevy made it. Alex Bowman had to sweat it out. Boy, did he have to sweat it out. But he made it. All the Penske teams made it. And not only that, but Josh Berry and the Wood brothers made it because of Las Vegas. And the other 3 Joe Gibbs Racing teams are all seated in the top 8. So all the big guns are there. But here's Ty Gibbs, who was an Xfinity Series phenomenon, who came into the Cup Series with high expectations, the heir apparent of Joe Gibbs Racing, and he's sitting there as the only guy on the outside looking in. And if you look at Ty Gibbs this year, the speed hasn't been there. I mean, there have been a couple of times where he's potentially contended. You look at Michigan, and he had some speed down the stretch there, had a good top 5. You look at Chicago, you look at Mexico City. Those were really the 3 races in my mind where Ty Gibbs had a shot. But if you're driving a JGR Toyota, you need to have a shot for way more than 3 races. And I think one of the big storylines here for the final 10 races as we head into the playoffs for some of these teams that are building for 2026, I think JGR has to take a serious look at the 54 and decide whether Tyler Allen is the guy. They bring this crew chief over from the Xfinity Series. He wins 8 races with a variety of different drivers, but he'd only worked 1 race with Ty. And they just haven't had the chemistry. And you've seen Denny Hamlin build chemistry with his new crew chief. You've seen the other JGR guys adjust to Chris Gabehart's new role and be really successful. We haven't seen that from Ty. And when you're the grandson of the team owner, certainly the driver's not going to go. And after 3 years and an offer in the victory column, I think we need to take a serious look at what's going on at the 54. And to me, even though RFK as a whole is a big disappointment, I think that because RFK didn't make the playoffs, the whole Ty thing has been lost. And I think it's something we really should talk about.
Peter, who do you think is the biggest disappointment to not make it?
Well, Tom somewhat mentioned it there a minute ago, but I would say all of RFK Racing. I think those 3 cars came into this year thinking we have 3 legitimate shots at the championship, 3 guys who are very capable of winning races, 3 guys who were all really this close at times this regular season to getting that elusive win, and to leave Daytona with 2 of their guys that close, but still no bullets in the 16 going forward. I think it's a huge disappointment for not only that whole team, but for Ford to have so few cars represented in the field of 16.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Matthew, for me, I think I'm going to look at a guy that his teammate clinched at Richmond, that being Kyle Busch. Austin Dillon, he got a spot when he won at Richmond. And I look back at the 3rd race of the season in Austin at COTA, and he was leading this thing. He led 42 laps of the 95. And obviously, he was battling with Bell and everything. And then it ended up, he had to end up settling for 5th. But I mean, down the stretch, it just did not feel like it was going to end up for him. And he had a chance and then got involved in that wreck. But I don't want to say, have we seen the end of Kyle Busch's in victory lane? But I mean, like, he's getting older and older. And ever since that RC rant after Dover, it felt like they switched gears, but it only felt like Austin Dillon did. I mean, ever since then, Kyle has finished 25th, 20th, 22nd, 16th, and 33rd. That's every single finish outside of the top 15. So something's got to change. Is Randall Burnett going to be the odd man out? Is he just going to take the bullet for him, and is KB going to get a new crew chief? I don't know, but I do feel like it is a struggle for Kyle Busch, and maybe we've seen the end of him in victory lane.
Just before we go to Massey, I found out this wild Kyle Busch stat tonight because I'm actually writing about this for Did You Notice Tomorrow? Every Wednesday on Front Stretch, check it out. How many laps do you think Kyle Busch has led in the last 14 races?
Well, I have the stats right here, so I really can't say it, but Massey and Peter can.
0. It's the longest stretch in his career where he hasn't even led a single lap. This is a guy that used to lead over 1,000 laps a year. So, like Nolan's point about Burnett, what do? It feels like a loveless marriage where you're just waiting for the divorce and it's still like 15 months away. So I don't know what they're going to do, but it really feels like this is not a partnership that's ever going to go anywhere.
Yeah, it especially makes it look bad that it's the flip situation of JGR, where JGR you have the nepotism guy misses the playoffs, and over at RCR the nepotism guy, he's hands down is the best guy at Richmond, a track that Kyle Busch has been great at in the past, and he wins his way in, and Kyle does not. The team I'm going with, though, is Spire Motorsports, not getting anybody in, because I think we saw a lot of potential from them early in the season. I mean, Hocevar nearly won Atlanta, might have if that caution didn't come out. McDowell had some road courses where, which one was it where he was leading? Was
Chicago.
Chicago. He was leading, and they blew up, and that was a huge missed opportunity. I think there's a couple of road courses where if things go different, then McDowell has a great chance of winning. He's a great super speedway racer as well. And then Justin Haley, the other night, that was his chance to make the playoffs, and he just let it slip. Him and Cole Custer kind of got in a number one match, if you want to call it that. And they both cost themselves, which reminds me, I'm going to go with an honorable mention to Cole Custer because both Daytona races he could have won this year. Daytona 500, if you remember, he made a bad move on the backstretch of the last lap that caused that big wreck. If that doesn't happen, it's probably him and Denny Hamlin in a drag race to win the Daytona 500. And then this past week, him and Haley, if he stays up there in front of Blaney, I think he would get another run at Haley, and it's just he made the move too soon. So Cole Custer, I mean, the season wasn't there, but he had a chance to win both Daytona races. And then the one last shout out I'll give to is Ty Dillon, Phoenix, earlier this year. If he doesn't get a pit road speeding penalty, he has the best tires in the field on that last run and potentially goes up and wins that race. So just some guys not really points wise should have been in it, but they had chances to win races and let them slip away.
Noah Coleman on our YouTube had a great point regarding McDowell. He could have won at Texas, but Logano passed him with 4 to go, and then with 2 to go, McDowell crashed, or with 3 laps to go. So I totally forgot about that. But I mean, like, Spires had so many chances. Hocevar's had opportunities. McDowell's had opportunities. Haley struggled. But I mean, Saturday he had an opportunity. So I do think we'll see them in the playoffs next year. But time will tell. Any other disappointments? I'll just for anyone to speak up. Any other disappointments that as we exit Daytona and enter Darlington?
Well, I think we'll look at Saturday night as the night that Haley lost his ride at Spire, honestly. Yep. I think that's probably going to be the moment, right? If you're Cole Custer, how do you not go there and give Haley a piece of your mind at the hauler? Because he really did block Custer there, in my opinion. And I understand the desperation on both sides, but it didn't work out for Haley. And now you're staring at the track record. You're staring at what the other Spire teammates have done. And I just don't know that he survives in 2026 now. I think that was his shot. Massie, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The one out there was AJ Allmendinger, because he started the year pretty good. There was a point where he was in on points, and everyone's thinking, all right, when we get to the road courses, it's going to be him and SVG. He didn't show up. Like, where was he on the road courses this year? It's just non-existent. So I feel like that was AJ was, and maybe the Kaulig cars just weren't that great on road courses, but just feels like a big missed opportunity. And along the lines of people losing rides, Daniel Suarez missing out when both of his Trackhouse teammates won races to get in there. I mean, that's gonna hurt you in the job hunt.
Not only that, but Suarez ultimately was second at Daytona after Haley and Custer's blocking back and forth. Yeah. So he was just that close to, even on a lame duck deal, things awkward over the last 10 weeks of still joining his 2 teammates in this field of 16.
And like everybody like compliments Ryan Blaney from going 13th to 1st, but like Suarez went from 19th to 2nd. I mean, like he still was amazing. And unfortunately for him, he's going to be out of a ride. There's obviously been speculation that he could be literally just a swap with him and Zillage. He go to Junior Motorsports. We that's still up in the air. So stay tuned to frontstretch.com for all the latest regarding silly season news. Let's dive on into the second topic of this evening's program. Peter, what is on your mind and what did you bring to the table?
So driving to the last 2 Cup Series events, I had minimal expectations of great races given this car's track record at both short tracks and super speedways. And both times I was absolutely blown away by what we saw over the past 2 Saturday nights on track. I thought Richmond was a fantastic race, and I thought Daytona is the best non-Atlanta drafting race we've seen in the next gen car. So I like to ask the panel, what is the state of the next gen car? Everyone was so willing weeks or months ago to say scrap this car, go back to Gen 6, or bring Xfinity cars up to Cup. Is next gen somehow working? Why were these last 2 races so thrilling?
Yeah, I would say Richmond, obviously it's the tire on a worn out surface. That's where we've seen great racing has been when there's tire wear, and Richmond already has tire wear, and they upped the ante on how much that tire was wearing there. It was just a wonderful race because of that. Like, honestly, it's not that the car got better all of a sudden. It's that the tire kind of served as a Band-Aid. Daytona, I just feel like the last year's cutoff at Daytona was good as well, an entertaining race. And I think it's just like you can't form a third lane with these cars when people are driving normal. But when they're driving in desperation and you have people knocking each other out the way, like Kyle Larson did Eric Jones, or Kyle Larson, who else? He did to someone, Priest as well. That forms a third lane because everyone's kind of blowing up a little bit. And once the third lane gets going, we got a race. But again, so it's like the tires is the Band-Aid in one, the desperation is the Band-Aid in the other. The car's still not great. So it's just like the circumstances kind of made it look good for 2 weeks.
Of course, you were going to say that the Richmond race was good, which, you know what, it was. But this is Massey's home track. It would be like, well, bulldozer 39 car wreck on lap 1. Cody Ware ran around by himself for 400 laps, but it was a wonderful race. Richmond was wonderful.
Was it not the best short track race of the next gen era?
North Wilkesboro's good.
Martinsville last fall was up there too, but I'd put Richmond in that same tier.
Martinsville was good. Good job, Peter.
Before the shenanigans.
But it was also just because of the intensity of the playoffs. So like get into the championship 4,
Well, I will give Massey his due. I agree with him. I do think that was the best race of the short track era, having seen it and looking through it. I think Massey made a lot of good points. At the same time, it's a foundation to build on, right? Because everybody wants this solution of let's just throw this car in the junkyard and start off with a new one. And I've been asked this question so many times over the summer by a lot of people about what we can do and talk to people about it. It's just the amount of money that it's going to take for that to happen is just not in the cards right now. Maybe after Dodge gets settled, 2028, 2029, we're not going to see it anytime in the near future. So you got to put lipstick on the pig. How do you put lipstick on the pig? It's exactly the 2 scenarios that Massey just described. Better tires that wear better, that create better racing so that cars are side by side, so that drivers need to actually use their skill set and manage their rubber over the course of the run. And then desperation at Daytona. Add in the threat of rain, right? That was there for a little bit, maybe at the start of the race, and ended up going away. But you had all these drivers thinking from lap 1, go, 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 go. And we ended up with one of the best drafting track races I've seen in the last couple of years, right? And pretty clean, other than the one, I wouldn't even call that a big one, the one medium-sized wreck. And that was basically it. So, you put those 2 things together, and I think you've got a recipe for how to make it better. But, as I send it to Nolen, I would say, look, you're only going to make it so much better. And the other thing is the way the current playoff system is structured, there is a build, right, that happens over the summer months where you see that desperation come into play. And when you see drivers suddenly giving 110, 115% that know they have to win and put their entire eggs maybe in the setup of one racetrack to win and mix it up front. And that's always going to add to the intrigue and may cover up how bad the car actually still is.
For me, for Richmond, I wasn't expecting anything at all, and I was pleasantly surprised. There was good tire fall off. There was, for all the loves lovers that love wrecks, there was a big wreck and everything, but there was actual passing, and I think it's got to give credit to Goodyear for that. For Daytona, I thought we were just gonna ride, and it's gonna be 3 and 4 wide. It's gonna look cool, but we're not gonna see anything. We saw actual moves when it was like when they restarted. Like I mentioned, Blaney went from 13th to 1st. Suarez went from 19th to 2nd. I think Eric Jones went from 25th to, I don't know where he ended up. He ended up in the top 5, 5th. Okay, 25th to 5th. I mean, like, you could make moves, and sure, you had the medium-sized wreck, but it was entertaining. And but besides Atlanta, I truly do think that was the best super speedway racing that we've seen since the next gen. And are we going to see that at Talladega? Probably not, because it's going to be 500 miles. But kind of what they were saying on DBC, we could see, because it's in the round of 8, we could see some people not bump drafting with other people. Let's say Chase Elliott is right behind Joey Logano and Larson is below the cut line. Chase is already eliminated. I don't think Chase is going to be bump drafting Logano, just because he wants to keep his teammate above the cut line. So I mean, there's so many different aspects of this. We could definitely see a different Talladega race, just where it is at in the calendar for the playoffs. But we're just gonna have to wait and see down the road. Massie, anything else you want to add before we dive on into our next topic?
No, I think we hit it all. Yeah, it is good that we had 2 good races, because before that, like, we were that close to having pitchforks outside the headquarters in NASCAR. And would it have been warranted?
Yeah, people maybe.
Now coming from after we go to Darlington and then Gateway in New Hampshire, it may be a little bit of a different story, because we saw what happened in Daytona or in Darlington in April or something. William Byron led like 700 laps, and it was kind of a dull race. But hey, sometimes that's just what happens in racing. But if you're just joining us, Dalton Hopkins is in Disney World or somewhere else because he doesn't like us anymore. And so we decided to have Pretend Dalton, a.k.a. Tom Bowles, on the program. From TSJ Sports, Peter Stratta. And then our non-beard man, he shaved his beard off a little too much, Mr. Michael Massie himself. Gentlemen, let's dive on into our third topic of the evening. Massie, are you going to be introducing this one, or will I?
What's our third topic of the evening?
It is
I expect you guys to come prepared. How are you this unprepared with the boss?
I don't know. There's 1,000 words in front of me.
I literally try and set it up for you because you brought this to the table, but I will bring it up. It was announced on Saturday morning that not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 entries will be in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series by Kaulig Racing this next year in 2026 with the help of Ram, not Dodge, but Ram. I'll have Michael start us off. Your initial thoughts to this announcement that we saw on Saturday.
I mean, look, it's cool that Ram is back. That's a big, just Dodge and Ram coming back into NASCAR is great. The more manufacturers you have, the more money there is around there. And the more competitive teams you will have. And somebody had to take the bait. When we were talking to Luke and Glover and I we're talking around the truck garage at Richmond, asking different people what was going on, whether they had talked to Ram or not. A lot of them were content with how they were, where they were at the time. So it took Kaulig to get into the truck series, and my thing is they're going from scratch in trucks to 5 teams. That sounds like a massive undertaking. I would have expected them to start with 2, get another team to have 2 more, another team to have 1. So I feel like it's too much already. And then there's also the implications of they're still racing Chevy in Cup and Xfinity. So how will that impact that relationship going forward? I don't know that I've ever seen a team on the RCR campus field something that's not a Chevrolet. So are they going to get the boot out of there? What What do you guys think, Peter? What was your thoughts when you heard this announcement? How do you think this will affect Kaulig at all levels?
I was also surprised to hear the announcement was 5 trucks total. Like you said, I think 2 or 3 would have been definitely more manageable. But both Matt Kaulig and Chris Rice emphasized you're going to hire on upwards of 50 people to help fill vacancies. And as far as the awkwardness of being on RCR's campus down in Welcome, apparently Matt Kaulig owns these buildings, and apparently the truck shop and the Cups Xfinity shop are going to be completely separate entities, apparently with no crossover. We'll see how realistic that actually is, but apparently they're going to be completely siphoned off from any potential conflict of interest with other manufacturers.
Yeah, for me, there's so many different things. I was listening to DBC, and it sounds like, according to Freddie, that they're going to downsize to 2 Xfinity teams. They're probably going to move Daniel Dye to the Truck Series because of just, they had the announcement on, Peter, you were there. Wasn't it on the dealership of
It was
Daniel
at the
Dye?
dealership owned by Daniel Dye's dad.
Okay,
yes.
okay, exactly. Okay, so more than likely, they will having him go back to the Truck Series. For me, there's so many different things. They say that he's going to have 4 full teams or 4 full-time teams and then an all-star team. But the thing is, isn't the people that are on the all-star team, aren't they for like Chevy? Can AJ Allmendinger go and run a Dodge? Can Ty Dillon come over and run a Dodge? Or are they just going to have some other people that? But then again, it's just like, can you get someone that's driving a Ford or someone driving a Toyota? There's so many different weird things going on. For me, Tom, it's so weird, and it feels like they're just going from 0 to 5 just like that. Why 5? Why couldn't they just start with 2 or 3?
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of questions that still need to be answered here. The only easy answer was the fact that it was at the Dye dealership. What was it going to be? Hey, I just want you guys to know, I'm going to divest all interest and never talk to my son again. And we're just going to do Dodges with everyone else. It was pretty obvious what was going to happen there. So that was one seat that was definitely filled. Other than that, I think it creates a lot of different questions. I remember when Toyota came into the sport. This is definitely going to age me because you guys were probably in diapers or something like that. But Michael Waltrip did run for a year with another manufacturer, I think with Chevrolet, before going to Toyota. And so the precedent is there. It's obviously not going to be all peaches and cream with Richard Childress Racing, knowing that Kaulig is going to go do that. But the other thing is, Kaulig's at the bottom of the barrel of the Chevy hierarchy. So is it really going to make that much of a difference? I mean, geez. They're like 10th on the scale. I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but they're certainly not at the Hendrick level or even at the RCR level, right? I think AJ overperforms in their equipment based on what the average is or what people should do in those cars. So nowhere to go but up for Kaulig. And I also think the cool thing about Kaulig doing the Dodge thing is they might create some opportunity. When manufacturer money comes in, what's one of the biggest things we as reporters hear from fans every time out when we're at a track? Oh, I'm so sick of this guy's son getting it just because he has the sponsor money, or somebody that finished 30th all the time getting the ride because they have sponsor money. Well, when manufacturer money is involved, you might just get drivers that deserve it based on merit and based on them moving up through the ranks. I think of somebody like a Butterbean Queen who is trying to move up into the Truck Series full time. I think of some of these guys that may not have had A-level opportunities that could potentially get a ride in the Truck Series with Dodge that will resettle them going forward. If I'm Daniel Suarez, I know I don't want to take that step back to the Xfinity Series. I know I don't want to go back to JR Motorsports. It keeps fighting it. Well, there's not a lot of open seats available. Why wouldn't you get back in on the ground floor with Dodge and then start from scratch, win a couple races there, and then hope you lead all the way back up the Cup? AJ Allmendinger's 45 years old. How much longer is he going to do this, right? We're going to be 40. He's like 43, 44-ish. So, yeah, those are my thoughts there. I think there's opportunity for some guys that have careers based on merit, not sponsorship, to get top-tier opportunities. I think it's a hard road to hoe for Dodge, but not inconceivable. It's yeah. All right, Nolan, keep that.
No, dang it! I was trying to hold it in. Dang it!
But look, a lot easier to come in and be successful than build your program up in Cup. Massey, we saw that with Toyota. It took a while, but not on the truck side.
Yeah, and the thing I think of, though, that I think this most relates to is Bill Davis Racing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bill Davis was a team that in Cup, I'd say about where Kaulig is, where, they were with Dodge at the time. They weren't Ray Abraham, they weren't up there every week, but they could go up there and pop off a win or two each year with Ward Burton. And then all of a sudden, they got caught testing Toyotas. Dodge pulled the factory support, and all of a sudden, that team ran awful for the next couple years. And even when they finally got to running Toyota at the Cup level, that team never really recovered. They ran great in trucks. They won a championship with Johnny Benson, but on the Cup side, we eventually just saw them go under, and it's just. I worry that the same thing, like they at least get some Chevy support now, and we saw. Ty Dillon made it to the final round of the in-season challenge. So there's a little bit of speed. I just feel like if Chevy pulls support from them in the same way that Dodge did with Bill Davis, then they could be the last place teams in the entire Cup series. But on the flip side, there's a lot of potential. The Xfinity side, it's going to hurt Christian Eckes because it's already hurt him going over there this year because he went from winning truck races to, kind of being a back half, the top 10, high teens kind of guy, just because Kaulig hasn't really had it in Xfinity, but they'll get even worse. I think you might see them running more among like Alpha Prime ranks or something like that. Which no disrespect to Alpha Prime, but on the truck side, though, it'll be fun to watch. It'll be a struggle at first, but like you said, Tom, Butterbean Queen has been linked to that ride, and he's a great driver, tearing the things up in the ARCA series, who deserves an opportunity, but doesn't have necessarily the funding behind him to go all the way to Cup. This could be a great opportunity for him to get in a paid-for truck that's will eventually be fast. And then don't forget, they're doing like a gong show type thing where somebody from like the grassroots level is going to get one of those trucks. And that's going to be really fun to watch. I don't know what they're like, if we're going to be able to watch the gong show or not. Hopefully one of the TV networks picks it up or something. Like I'd be really interested to tune in and see that. It's exciting things. I don't blame Kaulig for doing it because if you just keep doing the same thing, you're never going to elevate your program. At least with this gamble, there's a potential to take your team to the next step, but it is a gamble. It could backfire.
Exactly. I just lost my train of thought. I literally did. Peter, say something while I try and remember it.
You're good. Going off of what you were saying, Massey, Chris Rice may have been a little too honest with those of us who went to the announcement and said without a tier 1 manufacturer partnership that Kaulig was at risk of not being here anymore. So this is obviously, like you guys both mentioned earlier, Kaulig was pretty far down the Chevrolet ladder, their totem pole. There was no pathway up for them being a satellite team of RCR. So maybe this is a way for them to become, if not the top dog, then one of the second or third place dogs with a manufacturer getting in good and early with Dodge/Ram as they come back into the sport.
Remember what I was going to say. There's a really good article that you should check out on frontstretch.com. It's the Front Stretch 5. Beth Lugenheimer did a fantastic job about 5 potential candidates that you should keep an eye on for these truck rides. So I highly recommend check that out once again, frontstretch.com. Any final thought before we transition over to our fourth and final topic of this evening's program?
Kaulig's the tip of the iceberg. That's something that I could tell you. We saw with Toyota, they struggled in year 1, and then they got Joe Gibbs Racing to come over. Everything switched around. And the team that I've got my eye on, and I want to make clear that this is just educated secondhand information. We're not talking, I have 3 sources that claim that this is definitely going to happen. the Keselowskis had a long and storied relationship with Dodge. And Brad is one of the smartest people that I've ever dealt with in the garage area. I think Keselowski is an innovator. He's run his own truck team successfully. I think long-term, he knows that RFK is probably never going to leapfrog Penske as the number one Ford operation. And if you're not the number one with one of these manufacturers, it makes it that much tougher to win. It makes it that much tougher to reach the championship for every Martin Truex Jr. dream scenario with the Cinderella team, 95% of the time, it's the tier one top tier guys. And so I think that's a team to watch. I think RFK is a team to watch. They don't have teams in the lower levels, so you wouldn't see them necessarily in the trucks. But a year from now, if Dodge is successful there and Kaulig's still struggling on the Cup side, Dodge is going to need a big fish. And to me, that might be one of the bigger fish, if not RCR. RCR to Dodge rumors were around 5 to 6 years ago. But I don't think we're done. I don't think Kaulig and whatever is left of the WARE program are going to be the only two Dodge organizations. There's going to be a lot more than that.
On YouTube, Nicholas says Daniel Suarez to Dale Earnhardt Jr. Motorsports. Yeah, that's been the rumor as well in the garage area with Zillich going to the 88. I mean, Massie, you're shaking your head.
I think that 7 car, if Justin Haley gets let go, then I could see Spire scooping him up. That's been a rumor that's been out there as well, is he could replace Justin Haley. And then, if he doesn't want to take a step back to Xfinity, and I don't know that he does.
Which then would make Haley potential go to Kaulig, maybe an Xfinity, replacing Daniel Dye, who could go to the trucks. I mean, it's it's just like a little circle. We're tumbling down the mountain. It's silly season is live and well. Stay tuned to frontstretch.com for all the latest content. We got tons of articles. We're going to obviously mention it on all of our podcast feeds. So once again, at frontstretch.com. Our final topic of this evening's program. It's been a fun one, a little bit faster than normal, but hey, we're having a good time. It is the playoffs. They are alive and well. So we thought, hey, let's just do some playoff picks. I don't know if you guys have done a grid or a bracket or whatever it's called. I'm not for someone that talks for a living. I'm not good with words right now, so a little bit of a struggle right now, but that's okay. Why don't we'll have the guest go first? Peter, first off, did you make a bracket, a grid, whatever it's called, and then why don't you just give your picks, buddy?
Yes, I did make a grid.
Oh, okay.
I had to pull it up right here, but I'm looking at it on my screen right now. Should I go round by round or just give my championship 4?
Let's just go. I mean, Massie,
why don't we go around, do like first 4 out, and then
okay. I like that.
I like that.
All right, my first 4 out are Chastain, Dillon, Barry, and then SVG.
Okay, hold on. I'm. Let's see. I eliminated him. And then I eliminated. Who else did I eliminate?
Who's him? great okay. Audio for the listeners.
Sorry. Okay, so I eliminated Bowman. I eliminated Austin Dillon, Joseph Logano, because it is not a odd year, and then I eliminated Ross Chastain.
It is an odd year.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not an even year. Sorry. Okay. So it's not an even year. So he gets eliminated, and then Chastain. I just have not seen any speed from Chastain ever since he won in Nashville. So I'm picking those 4. Tom, who's going to be the first 4 eliminated?
Okay, so easy one is Austin Dillon. I just don't see it over the next 3 tracks. Josh Berry has really struggled. Since the win at Las Vegas, very inconsistent over the summer. I just don't really think it's going to be his year. There is always one big name that misses. And for, I think Cindric, by the way, is also somebody that's not going to push forward. I think that he has struggled at the majority of tracks this year. Getting ahead of myself. There's one big name that always tends to miss, right? And the one that I'm going to choose is Tyler Reddick. I think Tyler has not had the momentum throughout much of the season, has yet to win a race, barely squeaked in the playoffs to begin with. I know he made the championship 4 last year, but I look at Bubba with a much better shot of going the distance right now, the way that team is clicking than the 45 team. And all it takes is 1 or 2 mistakes. If you're that far down, remember, Tyler starts, I want to say, on the bubble, right outside the bubble, right? So I don't see it from them this year. I really don't see them going far.
I find it
Yeah.
interesting eliminating Cindric when Gateway is in the first round, and that's
Yep.
such a Penske strong track.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I thought. I would have eliminated him if like you didn't have Gateway on it, or because obviously Blaney should have won that race, but something happened. Cindric took advantage, got the W. I do think he's going to be strong there as well. So that's the only reason why I did not take him out. Massey, let's dive on into the second round. Do you want to go first on this time?
I haven't even said anything yet.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
I think Brian's had too much Billy's tequila tonight as the producer sitting here listening to this all unfold.
What a segue, Trenton. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, this week we have pretend Dalton Trenton. I think next week you're going to be pretend Bryan Nolen. That's what I think this is.
Trenton, you can mute his mic. I appreciate this. Trenton, please mute pretend Dalton's mic. Thank you.
I refuse to do that tonight. He's the boss man.
I'm still convinced that real Brian is pretend Brian, and he's just a fictional character that we all collectively imagine. He's not a real person.
Okay, seriously though, mute Michael Massey's microphone. Thank you. Okay.
I gotta get my picks first. All right, so let's go with some eliminations. Joey Logano, he's missing out, as you pointed out. It's an odd year, and he doesn't like winning and stuff in odd years. He only likes
Which is so weird to me. Like,
I know,
shouldn't he
like,
win every year?
he's like, man, I just want to take it easy this year.
I guess so. It's weird.
And then I'm gonna go with Austin Dillon. That's pretty easy. Second selection. I like Tom's Tyler Reddick. I almost called you Tyler. I almost called you Tyler. Tom Reddick. Tyler Reddick. I think that's a big name. He's only got 6 playoff points. So any little mistake, he's probably gone. And we've seen a lot of mistakes recently with that squad. And the last one, that's a tough one. I'll go Chastain. So I've got Cindric and Barry moving on past round 1 just because we got Gateway in there, and Bristol as well, another short track. So Penske's pretty good at those short tracks. The Gateway's not a short track, but they are good there.
Tomato. Noah Coleman says round of 16, he is taking to get eliminated the 2, the 3. So Cindric, Dillon, Barry, and SVG. That is interesting because SVG's got 22 playoff points. In my opinion, and we can go around the room, I think that is going to take him. I think that is going to have him squeeze just enough to squeeze out of the first round. I think all he has to do is just finish. 15th to 20th place finishes in all 3 races. I think he's going to be just fine.
I'm not so confident about that. First of all, he's never been to Gateway. That's
true.
A
Good
very
point.
tricky track in and of itself, and I don't know how quickly he will or won't adapt to that over such a short time practicing, qualifying, then the race. And then I don't have faith in him to not be 3+ laps down at the finish at Bristol, somewhere in the 20s. Trackhouse hasn't typically adapted well to that racetrack. I don't think that'll happen this time, but I still do think, regardless, he wins the Roval, contender or not.
Very fair.
Hold on, let me just bring a little knowledge here. There's been a lot of tequila drank tonight. I'm on BillysTequila.com. It says, experience of tequila made for thrill seekers and adrenaline junkies. Well, certainly we've seen that here, where there's been a lot of tequila consumed by these adrenaline junkies. Short track race at Richmond, 14th for SVG. Darlington earlier this year, 20th for SVG at a time when all of Trackhouse was struggling. My counter to Peter's great points, in all seriousness, was, to me, that's enough to get it done, even if Gateway is kind of off. I think he would just squeak through.
Yes, and I'll agree with you there. SVG calls Darlington his favorite oval. He was 20th there in the spring, but could have been probably 2 or 3 positions higher. So I expect him to have a good enough run out of the gate. But the next 2 weeks, I don't have full faith in him to put everything quite together.
Let's dive on into the second round. Michael Massie, you have finished your first round. Would you like to go to start the second round?
Sure. So Josh Berry's Cinderella run to the round of 12 will end there. Then I've got Bubba Wallace. I just think something's going to happen. Bad luck. We got the Roval in there. I think that's where he's going to miss out. Alex Bowman, that lack of playoff points is really going to hurt him in that round. He's the next. And the last one I think is going to be a little bit controversial because we do have the Roval in there. I think that's where SVG gets eliminated because he's won all these road courses, but at some point you're due bad luck. And I just think something will happen to him. He'll be banking on that Roval and something will happen. And he finally won't win a road course race. And I think he'll get eliminated. So I've got like Cindric moving on, like other Hendrick guy, Albert Bowman moving on. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're at.
You're going a little chalk. You're not going for the upsets like I am, but Boss Man, Pretend Dalton.
He's kind of an upset. He's got a lot
Brother, when you look at my upsets, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I see what he's talking about now. But we'll have Pretend Dalton go next. Pretend Dalton, do you have any upsets that you're going to be showing or telling us in this round of 12?
I should just tank this playoff thing and just make it Dalton's playoff grid so that when he comes back, he finishes dead last on all of these things. The ones that I think are the obvious, and mine is a little bit chalk. I don't think Bowman goes to the round of 8. I know they've had a solid summer, but I think the top part of this field is too strong. So I'm taking him out. I'm taking Chase Briscoe out.
Oh.
Because even with the Roval, and I know that that's a strength of his, I think if you look at some of the other JGR guys, he's already behind Hamlin and Seabell. I don't see either of them going away. So I'm getting rid of him. I'm going to get rid of, despite his success on intermediates, I'm going to get rid of Ross Chastain. I just don't think Trackhouse has shown top 8 speed. And the other guy that I'm going to get rid of is not Bubba Wallace. This is going to be another controversial pick. Chase Elliott has not looked that great this year. Just has not looked that great compared to his Hendrick teammates. And even with the Roval, I think he's going to need to prove himself on a road course. And we haven't seen Elliott win on a road course in the next gen car. He's just not been able to get a handle on this car on that track type. And I think in a really close field that's going to matter. He doesn't have as many playoff points as some of the others. I think Elliott misses out.
Great pick. I love that pick. I really do. Peter, before I'll go last on this one. Peter, what is your 4 going to be eliminated in the round of 12?
So my 4 out after New Hampshire, Kansas, Roval are Cindric, Logano, obviously odd number year, so Logano is not making a deep run. Then Wallace and Reddick, so 2 Penske's and both 2311 cards.
Okay. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to just throw everything up in the air, and I'm going to go crazy. Obviously, Josh Berry's Cinderella story comes to an end. So does Austin Cindric. Both had a great year, but unfortunately, their championship hopes end now. This guy has never been the same ever since attempting the double. I think his championship comes to an end. Kyle Larson does not advance out of the round of 12. And I agree with the boss man, or Pretend Dalton, whatever we want to call him. I just got a feeling something was going to happen to Chase Elliott, whether it's at Kansas, whether it's at the Roval. 2 HMS cars out in the round of 12. Noah Coleman, round of 12. Chastain, Logano, Reddick, and Bowman. Good picks, Noah. Appreciate you tuning in for that, tuning in with us and sharing your thoughts. So appreciate you, Noah. Let's dive on into the round of 8. Peter, we'll have you go first. Who's going to be going to Phoenix to compete for a championship?
You mean who's not going?
Yes. Sorry, my bad.
All good. So mine out are both Chases, Elliott and Briscoe, and then Bowman. I do see all 400 cars making the round of 8, but not all 4 making Phoenix, obviously. And a bit of an upset, I did not have Christopher Bell making it. I think Talladega being in the round of 8 bites someone, and that someone drives the number 20.
Okay. Mr. Pretend Dalton, who is going to be eliminated, and then who's going to be going to the championship 4?
Well, then wait, what's Peter's championship 4?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
so I think what we should do, we should say who's going to be eliminated and then who's going to be your championship 4.
My championship 4 are Larson, Hamlin, Blaney, and then Byron.
Okay. Wow. Solid.
a lot of chalk. I think mine is going to look pretty similar. So look at my 8 that I have left. I don't think Bubba is championship 4 material yet. I think this is going to be a big growth year for him. I have him winning Kansas, by the way. I think the 23 team wins to advance, but I don't think he makes championship 4. I think this is where SVG, his story ends. I don't think he's ready yet. He obviously needs to be well-rounded on some of these other track types. So that leaves Larson, Byron, Hamlin, Blaney, Bell, Logano for me. Out of those 6, I agree with Logano. Odd-numbered year. He's not going to make it. But I also think that Kyle Larson just has not had it since the May double. And it's really been one of those situations, reminds me of Chase Elliott a couple years ago, where the strong start really helped them. But come crunch time, their lack of speed lately is going to catch up to them. And I think he's the other guy that's going to be out, which leaves me with a championship 4 of Byron, Hamlin, Blaney, and Bell.
Massie, since someone may have been taken the exact 4 that I just took, we'll have you go next before I share my picks.
Yeah, so Cinderella run for Cindric is going to end at the round of 8. He exceeded expectations there, but bye-bye. Which it's too bad, because if he made it one more round, he could have won the championship. You know, he's and I'm tipping my hand a little bit about who I'm going to pick to win the championship. But
that'd be the ultimate fancy way to send off Phoenix as the finale.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just hold up a Team Penske freaking trophy. Go ahead.
The only way Phoenix would be a good championship race is if Cindric, Blaney, Logano, and Barry all made it. If those 4 make it to the championship 4, it'll be a really compelling championship race. Otherwise, but anyway, I divulge. Kyle Larson, I agree with you there, Tom. It's just that's where the magic runs at. The playoff points he's accumulated, get him to the round of 8, but not past that. And Chase Elliott, that's where he's gonna just not being able to win races regularly. I think that's gonna bite him in this round. And Christopher Bell, ever since the All-Star win, I know he's had different spotters since then. Maybe that's the reason why. I don't know. It's ever since the All-Star win, he hasn't looked the same as he looked early in the season. So that's where he's going to falter. And so there's your championship 4. It's Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, probably the biggest surprise I've got in there, and William Byron, using that regular season points to get him all the way there.
It's so fascinating to me because I feel like Briscoe's either gonna make it to like the final 4 or gonna get like eliminated in like round 1. Like him and James Small, they're either gonna find it or they're just gonna completely miss it. That's gonna be the one thing I'm gonna be keeping my eye on, really, really in depth during this first round. Before I dive in, Noah Coleman says his final 4 is gonna be Blaney, Briscoe, Bell, and Byron. The 4 Bs. I dig that, man. I dig it. So before we share our championship, official championship picks, I'll dive into my eliminations and my final 4. Las Vegas, I think Bell is going to win, so he's going to advance. Talladega, it's probably going to be like Ricky Stenhouse Jr. or something. And then Martinsville, it's going to be the king of Martinsville lately, I should say, Ryan Blaney. So Bell and Blaney get in on wins. Byron gets in on points, and then the final person to get in will be Denny Hamlin. Bell, Hamlin, Blaney, and Byron on my final 4. Reddick, SVG, Bubba, and then Briscoe get eliminated.
We all agree on 3 of the 4. Just the only difference is I have Larson.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
and I have Briscoe. So I'm 1 digit off of.
Yep. There you go. All righty. Start, Peter. Who is going to be the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series champion?
I had not put much thought into this. I put thought into a championship 4, but not a champion yet. So this young, off the cuff, give me Denny Hamlin as Denny's year until it's not somehow.
Yeah. It seems like, I mean, I've said this for 4 straight years. It's Denny's year, and it won't happen. Pretend Dalton, Tom, who is going to be crowned the 2025 champion in the desert?
Wow, this is getting weird. Are we going to have a consensus? I feel like this is a dead even year. And if there's a year where Denny Hamlin is finally going to have luck on his side, where everybody's really close up at the top, it's going to be a year like this one, especially heading to Phoenix, where I think the Toyotas have gained on Penske's advantage. So I actually think this could be the year that Denny gets it done. He's a piece. He knows when his Cup career is going to end. He's only got 2 more seasons after this one. He knows he needs to make it count. I think this is the year he does it.
Michael Massie, are we going to go 3 for 3?
Well, as beautiful as it would be to see Steve Phelps have to hand the championship ring to a guy who is currently in a lawsuit against NASCAR, as much as beautiful as that image would be, it's not going to happen because we're at Phoenix. And Noah Coleman said it best in the comments. We're at Phoenix. Penske's track. I've only put one Penske driver in my championship 4. Ryan Blaney is a 2-time champion. And then after this, Penske won't win a championship for a while.
I honest to God believe that if Denny Hamlin wins, you're going to have like Marty Snyder present the championship to Denny Hamlin. I legitimately believe Phelps won't go up and congratulate him. I truly do.
But a month later, December 4th,
yeah, exactly.
they'll be in court against each other. Reigning NASCAR champion versus NASCAR.
Like they didn't do it for Reddick. Like nobody from NASCAR did pictures with him when he won the regular season title. So, with that being said, we're gonna go 3 for 4. This guy's favorite team, Ohio State, won the national championship. They are on top of the world. It's going to be 11s against the world, and Denny Hamlin is going to be the first ever driver to be suing NASCAR and winning a championship in the same year. Denny Hamlin is going to be your 2025 NASCAR Cup Series champion. Javier says William Byron is champion regardless what you all say because Penske and Hamlin will be eliminated. That is true. You never know. That could be true. Javier,
we all got him in the championship 4, so
yeah,
he's got a shot.
He started off the year with a win. Maybe he'll end the year with a win, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. In 10 weeks from now, what you should not wait for though, that is Billy's Tequila. Why wait for the party to find you? You should bring it home. Order Billy's Tequila right now at billystequila.com and get it delivered straight to your door. Yes, my front door is right over there. They will deliver it straight to my door. This isn't your average tequila. This is additive-free, small batch, 100% blue agave, crafted for those who live bold. So it is smooth enough to sip, clean enough for cocktails, and built for every victory lap in life. So don't just drink it. Celebrate the race of life. Order now, once again, at billystequila.com. I know one guy that does love his tequila. That is Mr. Peter Stratta himself. Peter, what are you going to be cooking up on TSJ Sports? And let our viewers and listeners know what races you're going to be attending in the playoffs, my friend.
So playoff media day is tomorrow. We're recording this Tuesday night. Wednesday afternoon, all 16 Cup playoff guys will be made available to us at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I believe one of you told me off air that Steven Stump is going for you guys. So we get to see him again, as well as the rest of the media corps and the 16 contenders. Obviously, I'll be at Darlington, like I said a little bit ago, and then I believe Roval, then Talladega, Martinsville, Phoenix are how I close out the season.
Well, I will see you at one of those tracks, Peter. I'll be I'll see you in Phoenix. I'll be going to Vegas as well. Michael Massie, you're going to be basically going to be a part of the media corps going to every single race, it feels like. What races are you going to be going to? I know there's quite a bit of them.
Yeah, not really that much. I'm going to the Darlington this weekend, which, hey, let me say before that, Friday night Cars Tour race, we'll have coverage from that as well. So 3 days, 3 races of coverage that you can get all of it on Front Stretch, whether it be the Front Stretch YouTube page, frontstretch.com, or the Front Stretch Grassroots YouTube page. And then the next week, it'll be Gateway. So back-to-back weeks there. Never been to St. Louis, so I'm excited to see that city for the first time. And then I'll be going to Talladega, and I'll see Peter there, and as well as at Martinsville. And yeah, I think that's it for me. I really
4 out of the 10. That's solid.
Yeah,
40% of them. So that's not too shabby. Mr. Tom Bowles, you're going to be at a different racetrack this weekend. let the viewers know where we can see your handsome face.
I will be at IndyCar finishing up the final race of the season for IndyCar and Fox. What a great first year it has been. So I'll be finishing out Nashville, and then I'll be back on the NASCAR side. You never know where you're going to find me over the final 10 races of the season.
Can I just say something really fast? That call of Will Buxton with Christian Rasmussen on Sunday is what every call should be in the world of NASCAR. That was phenomenal. It was so good. Like the last 5 laps were phenomenal.
Speaking of Christian Rasmussen, this morning he appeared on our latest episode of the Pitch Straight podcast, our open wheel podcast. So you can give that a listen on the on wherever you get podcasts if you're subscribed to the Front Stretch podcast feed, or you can watch it on the Front Stretch Open Wheel YouTube page, whichever. Pick your poison there.
Why not both?
Yeah, do both at the same time. Surround yourself with the interview.
It's just like Michael Massie's equal opportunity drinker is going to take the Miller Tour in Milwaukee, and he's going to take the Anheuser-Busch Tour down in St. Louis in a couple of weeks. So it doesn't really matter for him. Billy's tequila, Miller, Busch. So I will say this. I think Christian Rasmussen's social media account is just at the absolute top of his game, or its game. If you see his social video from today, taking his trophy around to the fridge, to the couch, to share space with the Gateway Trophy where he finished third. Just he has a really funny reel about taking the trophy everywhere. And I think this is a real good lesson for NASCAR. I think this is something that more NASCAR drivers should do more of. I think IndyCar has an amazing social game. And, it's just something where I just don't think we see NASCAR drivers diving into it in quite the same way. And it's one of the reasons why I think IndyCar is gaining. And, I think Christian's social media account was phenomenal ever since he's won on Sunday. And what a drive. What an amazing performance.
Last thing on that, the social media game of IndyCar, like you were saying, is phenomenal. Andretti, Chip Ganassi, Ray Hall Letterman, Lanigan Racing, they're all tweeting about Travis and Taylor. Like they were trying to get the clicks. And you know what? They got a retweet from yours truly because I love. And you know what else I love? I love going to Portland. And for the final time for the foreseeable future, I will be taking my talents to the Pacific Northwest. NASCAR Xfinity Series got 2 races left before they start their playoffs. And they're going to be going to the 12-turn crazy track in Portland, Oregon. The only race of the year where I get to fly in and fly out the same day. It's going to be a long trip, but I'm going to have all the coverage for you on FrontStretch.com. Coming up next on the Front Stretch Podcast Network, you got Bringing the Heat with Trey Lyle. The actual Bringing the Heat with Trey Lyle, not what we saw at the very beginning. He's got a great guest coming up. Don't really know who the guest is yet, but you should tune in to see and hear who it is. And then you got Through the Gears with Wyatt Watson, all the latest betting odds leading up to Darlington. And then after the race, get all the latest with Mr. Caleb Barnes and Stock Car Scoop. For Peter Stratta, Tom Bowles, Michael Massie, Dalton Hopkins, thanks to our producer, Mr. Trenton Worsham. Thank you to Billy's Tequila. I am Bryan Nolen. This was another edition of Front Stretch's Happy Hour program. We'll talk with you next Tuesday here on Happy Hour.